want to talk for a few minutes about the headlight switches for the Vanagon. Here on the left we see what is actually 251 941 531T as in Tom. This is the late model, okay, Vanagon headlight switch. That's actually the only, maybe just like a year and 6 months they use this one. Okay, this one here is the earlier version. Okay, this is, let me put them this way. This is the early version M. Okay, so you have these two different versions. This letter M version was actually used from 1980 all the way up to mid-year 1990. If you look at the two, the big difference you're going to see, there's a thing that's not on this one. It's like a little one of the plugs. It's missing here, and on this one it's right here. Okay, very easy to see that part. Also down here there's an extra little prong sticking out here that is not on this one. Okay, so that's the big difference between the two. The problem comes in when the late model one, say you have a 91 Vanagon or a late 90, and your headlight switch fries, and then you need a new one. There is no new ones available. Okay, at the moment they are totally discontinued. There is no supply for them. And so what we're going to do in our video today is actually take this early switch, okay, take the back off, and some of the components from this bad late switch that we have here, and then make one new switch out of these two that's going to be a brand new late model switch that we can use in our 1990 to 91 Vanagon. Okay, like I said, if you have a doubt about which one you have, you just look on the back of it. There's a part number. It's clearly written back here. Might not be able to see it that good in this video, but or you can just take a look at these two extra prongs here that they used in the later one. Alright, so then we're going to go ahead and start ripping these things apart in our next section of our video. So, I mean, that's the major differences between the two. My experiment today, I'm going to try to take the buttocks of this one and put it onto this earlier one, and whatever guts might be needed out of the switch, we might going to try to transfer, kind of taking this stuff that's still good, hopefully, on this late switch, turning it into the early switch into a late switch. That's what my goal is here. This late switch is probably the worst you're going to find as far as it melted, most likely because of somebody put some extra fancy headlight bulbs in, or there could be some kind of resistance in the system that's causing it to have a high resistance and melt. So be careful with your headlight switches. I mean, the best way to preserve them is to have some kind of a relay system in place so that it's unloading the switch, therefore you're not having this meltdown problem. That would basically make this switch last forever. Okay, because how they fail is the points get a little bit corroded inside. It's a high amperage application anyway, and then all of a sudden it gets hot and melts. Okay, so if you unload it with some relays, it's basically doesn't really matter that it's getting corroded inside because it's not really carrying that much amperage anyway. Plus, a lot of it's actually not corrosion; it's more like getting carboned up because it's arcing a little bit in there when you switch it on and off. So now that that is over, I'm going to try to pop the rear ends off of these. The easiest way to do it is just take a little small screwdriver. You're going to see some little tabs that are at the top and the bottom here. They're kind of underneath this little plastic. You just kind of pop them with a little mini screwdriver. I actually already started doing it on this late model one here, and you can see the buttocks of it is trying to come off. You want to be real careful with these. I got them in a vise because the little small pieces inside can go bye-bye on you. Okay, so here's this one. It's off. Okay, you can see on the back side, these are all the contacts where the light switch would slide back and forth and kind of do stuff. Okay, it actually looks pretty doggone good. Okay, I don't see a lot of burning. You can see just a little bit of stuff on these over here. It's hard to see. I can't really point to it and touch it at the same time. That's just not going to work. Let me point to it this way. Like just a little bit here and here. There's some a little bit of carboning. These are your slide contacts. I can't really focus with this camera, but maybe back up a little bit. Makes it better. I don't know. They're actually supported by some springs here and here. Okay. And that's pretty much all there is to that. Okay. So what you want to be careful of is, and this happened as soon as I started pulling this apart, one of the slide contact pieces, there was actually a third one up here. It just fell through this corny little hole right here. Okay. And you know, that's another problem. These things are just sitting here. They're balanced on some little tiny springs. And you just want to make sure you kind of keep everything together as much as possible. Alright, so I'm going to try to pop this other one apart here before your very eyes. So feast your eyes upon it. We're going to try to not lose that other part. That would be so nice to not do that. Alright, I know you guys get all excited when people do stuff in front of you, so there you go. Now you're getting your excitement for the week. Ken, don't stop the video. No, no. Alright, whatever. It just makes it more fun for me because now I got to videotape it and do it at the same time. Alright, we're going to pull this beast out. Okay. And it is different. I mean, this one here, all my contacts are stuck to the back of this. Alright, so this is officially in the blooper reel. So what we want to try to transfer here is just the back part. I think we're safe. It looks like it's pretty much going to be the same. So that's what I'm going to try to do, is just transfer the back part from one to the other. I may also have to transport this piece right here, this double piece, because it looks different than the one that was in this one. See how this one is a little bit different? It doesn't have a little side piece on here, so that must be something critical. But it can fit in there, so we could transport that over, no problems. Your new switch is going to have a new, this actually got left in here. This is the resistor piece, and normally it would pull out with the back, but because it's melted, it actually melted this in here, so that's just kind of stuck there, just chilling. We're just going to let that be. It looks like I got another little problem here, which is you can't hardly see it, but there's 3 little tiny springs here, and in this one there's 1 central spring. So it looks like I'm going to have to also transport some of that stuff. Maybe it'd be easier if I can. No, that's totally melted. Alright, I'm going to just try to continue to use this plastic piece in this one, just kind of swap them back and forth. You can see this is my first time doing this, so I'm trying to keep you guys in the loop here. Alright, let me try swapping stuff over and we'll see how we make out, and I'll come back and video some more. Alright, so actually we have mission success on the mission to take an early 251941-531M switch and turn it into a T switch. Okay, that's the late one, and so everything worked great on that. The 2 things I had to swap was this back piece here, and also this one piece right here, this contact piece with the 3 screws. We swapped that over, and that is good. Now it's good to go. Okay. Also, I had to swap the resistor piece for the dimmer for the interior lights, you know, for the cluster lights, because this one is melted. When the switch died, it just melted everything. So, alright, so that is a good thing to know. Okay, you can do it yourself if you have the patience of Job or some other long-suffering person. The biggest problem with doing this is dealing with these little tiny springs, because they like to stick to your finger. If you try to use a magnet, good luck on that, because now you just magnetized them and they're going to magnetize to everything. I would not use a magnet. Try to use either some little tweezers, your finger, something like that, okay, to do it, okay, because it is super frustrating. The other frustrating part I had was this carriage here, this plastic piece. It actually comes out. This one is frozen because it's melted. But this actually slides back and forth. As you flip the switch, it's going to slide back and forth. And the problem is, it's actually balanced on a big size BB that also a spring sits on top of the BB, and then this plastic thing with all these little contacts and little teeny springs all balance on top of that. And so the whole time you're trying to put the back on, the whole thing's trying to move around and pop apart. So what I wound up doing was putting the switch so that it was like pushing this carriage all the way to the right. Okay, if you're doing it in this orientation, you have it pushed all the way over here. As you're putting the back on, you're depressing the switch itself. Okay, you're basically pushing the switch in this position, which is, I think, the off position. Okay, you're pushing on it with your one hand. The other hand, you're trying to, put the back on straight, as a straight shot. And then straight as you can, then, snap it in with these corners here without it moving. Because if it moves or jostles or anything like that, then you gotta take it back apart because the BB got jammed over here or over here. Once you get done, the switch should easily click both ways. Okay, and another reason why you have to push it into that position and hold it there is because there's actually like little levers on the back of the switch part that go into these little slots that are in either side of the carriage. So if you don't have the switch in the proper location while you're putting the back on, those levers can get jammed over here to the side. Now your BB's in a good spot, but your levers are messed up. So then you go to move it, it won't fully engage and go to full on. So there's a little bit of, juggling going on when you're doing this. That's why I like putting it in a vise. Do not do what I do, which is have it in a vise that you also use for CV joints and stuff, because now you can see I got garbage on my hand, but it's fine. Everything worked out good. So that is how you do that. So if your T switch goes bad, don't cry, dry your eye. Go and get an M switch from this little guy, Ken Wilford, at www.vanagon.com, and then you can use this video to put it together. When you have everything apart, just clean all the contacts. Usually you can just wipe it off with your finger or like a small little piece of, paper or something. Okay, all these contacts in the back, just wipe them down. Make sure they're not, don't have any blackness on them. And put it back together. I would not, this thing had like some Vaseline in here. I would not recommend that. You try to do that, it's going to stick to everything. It's going to make it 10,000 times more frustrating to get it together. I know that's good, but what I would do is, as soon as you do this and get this installed in your van, get it back working, get yourself a Headlight relay kit and unload this switch. That way you'll never have this problem again, and you won't have to deal with this. So that is our video here at Vanagon. Please support us by making purchases at our web store, Vanagon, VANAGAIN.com, or you can send us a thank you money via PayPal at our email address, which is KENWILF as in Fred, Y, Ken Wilfie, at Comcast.net. Alright, hope you enjoyed our video, and keep on trucking.